and worshipped by an empire, even before Europe raised its great cathedrals. In South America, 6 centuries ago, palaces of stone, copper, and gold, a 3,000-mile empire ruled by the Inca, complacent in wealth, ripe for conquest. In 1525, invasion. Spanish adventurers under Pizarro. By force, by trickery, the Spanish capture and enslave the native population. In a few short years, the Inca Empire is destroyed. South America becomes New Spain. Roman Catholicism becomes the official religion. For the once proud Indian, 3 degrading centuries of slavery. At last, the liberator. Under the leadership of Simón Bolívar, the yoke of Spain is gradually thrown off. Independence for Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, Chile. In 1824, the last power of Spain is crushed in Peru, and the following year, a new country is born, the Republic of Bolivar, Bolivia. The western part of Bolivia is mountainous. The Altiplano, a high plain higher than the peaks of our Rocky Mountains, lies between the ranges of the Andes. In the center of this plateau is Lake Titicaca, more than 100 miles long, 12,500 feet high. The temples which once rose on its islands are gone, but the Aymara Indians still fish the waters in their reed canoes. To the east of the mountains are the lowlands, a vast tropical area, sparsely settled, with jungles, grassy plains, and rivers slowly flowing some 3,000 miles to the Atlantic Ocean through the Amazon system. Near the Altiplano, at 12,000 feet above sea level, lies La Paz, the capital city. Some 400,000 people in a narrow valley at the foot of Mount Iliaman. Since the revolution of 1956, Bolivia's parliamentary government has been more responsive to the needs of the working man. But the government faces many problems. Mining, once the mainstay of the economy, has been hard hit by the slump in the world price of tin. There is inflation. Prices have skyrocketed. The little money they have buys even less. Among the people there is hardship and uncertainty. They are cold. They are hungry. Their spirits have not been fed. In the midst of these problems stands the Methodist mission in Bolivia. Though it points toward the future, its roots go back some 50 years to a tall, gaunt American in the last stages of tuberculosis, who toiled his way by foot over the Andes to establish the first Protestant church in La Paz. And with less than $100 given him by a Methodist mission in Chile, Francis Harrington founded a school as well.
I'm Murray Dixon, director of the school that Francis Harrington founded. Today, the Instituto Americano, crowded with more than 1,400 students, is a vital and respected part of Bolivian national life. In 1957, we celebrated our 50th anniversary. It was a great day for the Methodist Church in Bolivia. The daughter of Francis Harrington was herself here to see the people come in and give homage to her father and the other people who'd helped establish the school. People came in from all over Bolivia, congressmen and senators, diplomats, the president of the country himself, Nancy Lesloso, all of them graduates of the American Institute, the Methodist Mission School in Bolivia. These people had come here years before as poor boys, like many of our students today, in an effort to get an education which would not only give them a preparation to earn a living, but also fit them to make a contribution to the life in Bolivia, the life of this country which is in such desperate and often tragic need, but which really offers such a tremendous challenge for the future. In recognition of what the Methodist Church is doing in Bolivia, the national government recently bestowed upon the school in La Paz its highest award, the Order of the Condor of the Andes. The citation read, bestowed upon the American Institute in recognition of its service to education in Bolivia, and especially for its work in the formation of Christian character. In all of our work, we attempt to help the Bolivians to develop strong, healthy bodies, sound, alert minds, and especially the spiritual stamina to enable them to meet life in this difficult and challenging country.
Five years after opening the school in La Paz, the church started another in Cochabamba, second largest city in Bolivia. Today, the Instituto Americano de Cochabamba has more than 900 students, many on scholarships which pay part or all of their tuition. These church-sponsored schools have set high academic standards for other schools in the country. The staff also operates a free school for very poor children. Many of them, 8 or 9 years old, have never been inside a classroom before. The schools at Cochabamba and La Paz are the foundation stones of the church's mission in Bolivia. Another pioneering project was the establishment of a mission hospital in La Paz. Frank Beck, a missionary who came to Bolivia and saw the terrible health conditions, went back to the United States at the age of 35 to become a doctor. He returned to start the Clínica Americana, which today ministers to both the Altiplano Indian and city dwellers, and which through the years has helped to raise the health standards of the entire country. Dr. Beck also founded the first school of nursing in Bolivia, which is run in conjunction with the Methodist Hospital. Scores of young women have completed the 3-year nursing course. Its graduates go out all over the country to serve the needs of the people.
One of the places where we recently began a new medical work is at Ancoraimes, in the center of the Altiplano.
Along the shores of Lake Titicaca, the church has developed a comprehensive and coordinated program. A well-equipped clinic near the town, a string of elementary schools along the lakeshore, a demonstration farm, and a vocational school. The program has been developed to meet the special problems of life on this high plateau. Malnutrition and disease. Ignorance, poverty, and ill health. The Aymara Indian lives on the mud sill of Bolivian society. His land, sick from centuries of erosion and overcultivation. His church, barren and unconcerned. Small wonder that he seeks escape from life's realities. It is All Saints' Day, a strange mixture of Catholicism and paganism. They forget their problems while the church, 400 years old, looks on. Until the Methodist Church established this clinic at Aymara, the nearest doctor was 80 miles away, in La Paz. Now they receive treatment from the skilled hands of Dr. Pablo Monte, son of an Argentinian Methodist. In an emergency, Dr. Monte drives the patient to the hospital in La Paz. Methodists established the first country school in this region some 20 years ago. Now there are at least 18 rural schools along the lake, taught by young Bolivians who have been taught by the missionaries. In general charge of the work here is Jack Robinson. He has worked with the Aymara Indians for over 9 years and is one of the few outsiders who has mastered their language.
These men are looking at the new plow which we brought in to try to help them produce better crops on their small, worn-out farms. This new plow from the States will help to give them more dirt around the roots of the plants to allow them to produce better and more food, which they lack so much here in this area. This agricultural teaching is one of the principal classes of the vocational school, which we have started this year under the direction of Milton Robinson. And I would like for you to come with me now to see some of the work of this new school. In this room, Milton has his carpentry classes, where he teaches the young fellows to make tables and chairs and some rough furniture. For the houses where they live now have no furniture. We find the Indian intelligent and quick to learn. He is especially good with his hands. In our little country schools, they learn to read and write, but that won't help them much if they can't find employment. So we teach them trades. Another practical class which we give the boys is stonemasonry, to help them to have a more permanent foundation for their mud hut. Here we see several of the boys working on stones to learn how to do it more perfectly. Aymara girls have a pretty rough time. They have to work in the fields along with the men and help look after the sheep. Virginia Bunn of the Women's Division of Christian Service is teaching them ways of improving life in the home. These girls never saw a biscuit before. Virginia is teaching them how to bake biscuits in an old alcohol tin, turned into an oven. On sunny days, Milton often has his students come outside for their barbering classes. It's amazing what where different scissors and shears will make not only in the appearance, but in the attitude of a boy who has gone for months without a haircut. Over on this side, we see a new church which was completed and dedicated in 1955, where people come in from the surrounding communities to worship with us on Sunday in the middle of the day. Of course, some of our people live too far away to come into town to worship, so Sunday mornings we load the organ on the old blue truck, and I go out to hold services in the little country schoolhouses. I guess I take on more than is good for the springs, but I hate to turn them down after they've walked several miles to the road. I like to think of these little schools where the children come during the week to learn to read and write, and where families come on Sunday to learn about the love of God, as stepping stones on the Indians' path to a better life. Mahina kasi Kristos ka, chakwan lai kukyu, parlak, aniu koma kan kanyampit. Nyat an katanya nakakaru, yakinak yap hatany unat. But the Altiplano is not all of Bolivia by a long shot. As a Texan, I hate to admit it, but Bolivia is bigger than Texas and California put together.
A large part of Bolivia lies over the mountains in the Amazon basin. These tropical lowlands have rich resources, but, until recent times, have been cut off from the rest of the country by the impassable mountains. Now a new paved road has been completed between the Altiplano and Santa Cruz. The breadbasket of the lowlands is linked to the centers of population on the high plains. Throughout the area, roads are being built. Jungle lands are being cleared for farming. The government, with the aid of Point 4, is pushing a big agricultural program. New and reportedly rich oil fields have been discovered. American and British companies are investing heavily in petroleum development. Cotton grows well in Santa Cruz. Bolivia Bolivian capital has built new gin and sugar refineries. With the new roads, all manner of produce flows into the town. And the once sleepy old Spanish town of Santa Cruz awakens. But many Bolivian officials, as well as churchmen, know that lest the old cycle of boom, corruption, and exploitation be repeated, there must be a spiritual awakening as well. This is the concern of Robert Caulfield, Methodist from Alabama.
Hello. I was just putting some tools in the car here to take to Montero, a little town about 35 miles out where we're planning to start a rural center with educational, evangelistic, and agricultural work.
The trip from Santa Cruz to Montero takes 40 to 45 minutes now that the road is paved. A couple of years back, truckers considered themselves fortunate if they made it in 2 days. Here we have a 15-acre plot right off the new road. Our objective in building a rural center is to fill the gap that exists between the very deficient primary education and the more technical .4 program. At our school, boys and girls will receive a basic education, as well as learn basic but improved methods of farming and homemaking. We expect them to take this knowledge home with them. Working with me is Jim Pace of Brownsville, Texas. He is primarily responsible for the evangelistic program, and I for the school. So there's just the two of us here working on the ground floor. We collaborate closely on all our plans.
But Methodism doesn't wait for buildings in Bolivia. The seed planted by our missionaries has begun to take root. A Bolivian preaching to Bolivians, spreading the gospel from the square and street corners, just as John Wesley did in England. Young people from a Bolivian church teaching children in a poor section of town. Young minds hungry for the nourishment of Christian teaching. Young bodies hungry for the basic food, bread and a little milk. Bolivians ministering to Bolivians. That has always been the goal. And it is just beginning to happen. And so our mission lies before us.
The Okinawans who are doing such a fine job clearing their land and making farms in the jungle have asked for our help. They want a full-time Protestant pastor who speaks their language or Japanese.
In Cochabamba, a home for abandoned boys, 150 youngsters picked up off the streets, operating without personnel and without any basis, without any understanding of what needs to be done. And the government begging the Methodist Church to take over its administration. And we unable to do it because we don't have personnel.
Up on the Altiplano, delegations come to us every month and ask for teachers. We will build the school, they say. Just send us a teacher. Too often, we have no one to send.
Today, Bolivia and help them grow in their Christian faith. This is our mission in Bolivia.